While learning about the plot of various GTA games, we can often see that not all characters behave towards the protagonist of the game, including us, throughout the plot in the same way. It often happens that a character who has a good or indifferent attitude changes, sometimes even becoming his worst enemy. This procedure makes a lot of sense, because the recipient is often quite shocked that, for example, a person whom he trusts stabs him suddenly in the back. We think a pretty good example is Dmitry Raskolov from GTA 4. On the other hand, the thing that raises the feeling of wow much less in the player, which has just turned out to be here, is present in the character of Joey in GTA 3. What is brilliant in this case is that the wow effect can be doubled, but we have to find ourselves what is supposed to trigger it. That's why we'll look at Joey Leone's story together. What do we know about this character? Does he represent a simple citizen with his personality, or does he have something more hidden deep inside? Let's find out. Joey Leone is the second employer that players will meet while traversing the 3D universe. Joey is the son of one of the most influential people in Liberty City, and above all, in Portland, the famous Salvatore Leone, Don of Leone crime family. As far as we know, Joey is a mechanic by trade, and his mother has been dead for some time now. We can find a young mechanic's workshop in the Trenton district. Joey Leone is an example of a character with a mask theme. Arguments for this claim include his alleged activity as an auto mechanic or his act of being a blunt man, as highlighted by the LCPD in an article in the Liberty Tree newspaper. The man formed a worldview as if he was merely a mechanic fond of prostitutes to hide his true identity. This is very evident during one of the missions of the main storyline when Joey orders Claude to murder Don of the Forelli family, which is as if the most important person in another rival mafia. It may seem then that the man plays a very important role in his father's organization. We can also find many interesting things about Joey by browsing the Liberty Tree newspaper. In early July 2001, several newspaper articles appeared regarding people who may have made a key contribution to the functioning of the Leone Mafia. Among these people can be found none other than Joey. The article tells us that Joey tries to present his worldviews and intentions in a rather down-to-earth way, creating really a false image. He is trying to convince the society that his role ends only with the work of an ordinary car mechanic. However, the LCPD clearly notes Joey's obvious ties to the Leone Mafia here. After all, he is the son of the Don, who rules one of the superpowers when it comes to criminal organizations in Liberty City. Hence, the increased monitoring of this man by LCPD is absolutely justified here. As a police spokesman himself said, Joey Leone does not look like he is trying to convince the world, pretending to be a man with no ambition whatsoever. Moreover, the police themselves say that Joey Leone can play a key role in the Leone family hierarchy. Thanks to this, we can assume that he is at least a lieutenant of this organization, as Luigi Gottarelli, for example. What's more, in the game's plot itself, we find many references that confirm the fact that Joey Leone is an important person in the mafia circle, but we'll get to that in a moment. From the events of GTA San Andreas, we learn that 5 years before the events of the game, the protagonist of the game, Carl Johnson, had the opportunity to work with Joey. This gives us an assumption that Joey, at least from 1987, ran his workshop. Meanwhile, coming down again on the topic of trivia, it should be mentioned that in some PS2 versions of the game, during the mission Salvatore's Called a Meeting, Joey is wearing a mechanic suit, while in the PC version he already wears his black suit. In addition, Joey Leone appears along with several other characters in the posters for the movie Badfellas, which is a reference to the movie Goodfellas. Moving on to the plot, the main character, Claude, meets Joey Leone when he is tasked with bringing his favorite prostitute, Misty, to his garage on behalf of the local pimp, Luigi Gottarelli. At the first meeting, it might seem that Joey is a regular mechanic who doesn't really have any sins in his pocket other than enjoying his free time with prostitutes. Besides, the character offers us a job, thanks to which the player will have the opportunity to get to know Joey Leone from this other, more criminal side. Joey's first mission, Mike Lip's last launch, is also the first time Joey Leone is known to be operating undercover. The mechanic tells us that the rival mafia, known as Forelli's, owes Joey money for a long time. It is possible that they used his services, perhaps when the two mafias had better relations with each other. Either way, as some kind of compensation for financial losses, Joey Leone asks Claude to murder the last Don Mafia Forelli we know, Mike Forelli. At first glance, the mission seems rather trivial. Claude's job is to get into one of the local bistros and kill someone in a rather spectacular way. However, when we look at who we are to kill, it turns out that the matter is really serious. Because not every person who can colloquially be called nobody could order the murder of Don to another mafia, who, as we know, is at the top of the entire organization. He is the most important person. The murder of Mike Forelli is beneficial to the Leone Mafia as it can take full control of Marco's Bistro, resulting in greater profits for the Mafia. Moreover, the family can achieve this through an associate, so they do not take any responsibility for it. On the other hand, this is a tragic situation for the Forelli Mafia, as the loss of Don very often involves the dissolution of the Mafia in the absence of a successor. The next task from Joey Leone is a mission called Farewell Chunky Lee Chong, where the mechanic informs us about a certain dealer who deals in spank drug trafficking. The illegal sales take place in Portland, specifically in Chinatown, and, as we know, the attitude of mafia families to drug trafficking is quite skeptical. It's worth noting that Joey Leone appears to be a very well-informed person, secretly revealing to the protagonist which gang is responsible for the distribution, that is, Colombian cartel. Joey Leone's motives for the murder of Lee Chong can be assessed positively or negatively. Getting rid of the spank dealer allows the Leone family to run their business freely. The help of an independent person, in this case Claude, is doubly invaluable because, thanks to this, the Mafia does not take any responsibility once again. In addition, the Colombian cartel loses its men in Portland, which makes it difficult to conduct further business there. The third contract from Joey is the mission called Van Heist, where this time we are ordered to steal an armored van with a lot of money. A seemingly trivial task, but shows that Joey is really committed to helping the Leone Mafia, although he maintains publicly that he has nothing to do with it. He tries to get more funds for investment for the Leone family while earning a little for himself. The next mission we are commissioned by the mechanic is the quest called Cipriani's Chauffeur, where Joey introduces us to Leone's mafia capo Tony Cipriani. Apparently, the mechanic noticed how great potential lies in the game's protagonist, and using him as a neutral person can bring many benefits to the Mafia. Once again, you can see how powerful the mechanic is. His connections include one of the most important people in the Mafia. Joey consciously acts for the benefit of his family, trying to hide it from society in order to be able to legally undertake further criminal activities. Another mission that is directly related is Dead Skunk in the Trunk, where we are asked to get rid of the body of a Forelli mob who was trying to somehow thwart Joey's plans. Here, unfortunately, we do not know exactly what it was about. Presumably, a murdered member of the Forelli Mafia was to retaliate for the death of Mike Forelli, but it was unsuccessful. Asking to take the car with the corpse to the crusher is an obvious procedure to get rid of the evidence and responsibility for your actions at the expense of an associate. The last mission for the mechanic is called the Getaway. This time, the protagonist has the opportunity to see that Joey Leone also organizes raids in his spare time, which undoubtedly shows that he is not an ordinary gray citizen of this city. The last mention, where we have the opportunity to interact directly with Joey Leone, is one of the missions for Tony Cipriani called Salvatore's Called a Meeting. Our task is to collect 3 important people of the Leone Mafia, including Joey, of course, and safely deliver them to Salvatore's mansion. There is to be a discussion on the strategy in connection with the upcoming official territorial war with the Triad and the elimination of the risk of entering into open conflict with the Colombian cartel. During the mission, we have the opportunity to pick up Joey in his limousine, specially prepared for the occasion. After some difficulties, we manage to get to Salvatore Leone's villa in one piece. There, among other things, we can find out that Joey Leone's mother is in the grave, but also that Joey Leone is allegedly working on finding a woman.
It's my boy.
How you doing, Pop?
You got yourself a good woman yet? Hey, your mother, God bless her soul, would be turning over in her grave to see you without a wife.
I know, Pop. I'm working on it.
Who knows? It might be his favorite prostitute, Misty. Summarizing Joey Leone's history, in our opinion, this is a character perfectly suited for the DLC. The creators could present the entire background of Joey's actions for the Leone Mafia and show the players a completely different face of this character. Unfortunately, as we know, nothing like that was created, which, on the other hand, warms up the whole thread quite nicely, raises many questions, which, unfortunately, we will probably not get an answer to. Although, never say never. And that's the point when we have to say goodbyes. As always, we are pleased if you share your opinion concerning Joey. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video as well. We'll see you in the next one. See you around!